Have you ever wondered how well you could survive in today's complex and technologically advanced world without the comforts we take for granted? It's a question that prompts us to consider our own resilience and self-sufficiency. In a world so intertwined with technology, the concept of survival takes on new layers of complexity. But what if the grid goes down? What if you find yourself in a situation where you need to rely on your own skills and knowledge? Today, we'll explore 10 things you should do to increase your self-sufficiency in a survival scenario. Firstly, you must master basic first aid skills. In any survival situation, the ability to treat minor injuries can mean the difference between life and death. A deep cut, a burn, or even a fracture, if left untreated, can lead to serious complications. That's why it's vital to know how to clean and dress a wound, how to treat a burn, and how to immobilize a fracture. While it's best to take a certified first aid course, there are also a wealth of resources available online. From step-by-step guides to video tutorials, there's no shortage of information for those willing to learn. But remember, nothing beats hands-on practice. So, once you've learned the basics, make sure to practice until your skills become second nature. In the chaos of a survival situation, you'll be glad you took the time to learn. Remember, a small first aid knowledge can go a long way in a survival situation. Secondly, learn how to create a fire. Without a doubt, fire is one of the most critical elements of survival. It provides warmth, allows us to cook our food, and can signal for help when we're in a bind. So how do we harness this vital tool? There are several methods, each with its own merits. The most traditional method is the friction-based fire. This involves rubbing two pieces of wood together until the heat generated ignites a spark. It's a labor-intensive process, but can be a lifesaver when resources are scarce. Another method is the flint and steel method. Striking a piece of flint against steel generates sparks that can ignite tinder. It's quicker and less labor-intensive than the friction method, but it requires you to have these materials on hand. Finally, there's the fire starter method. This involves using a commercially available fire starter, which can be ignited easily and burns for a long time. Fire is a survivalist's best friend. Scene script: water is life. Learn how to find and purify it. In the wilderness, finding water can be a survival game changer. Rivers, streams, or lakes are obvious sources. But in arid landscapes, you may need to rely on morning dew or dig a few feet into a dry riverbed to reach groundwater. In snowy terrains, melt snow for water, but never eat it directly as it lowers your body temperature. But finding water is only half the battle. Purifying it is essential to avoid waterborne diseases. Boiling is the most common method. Simply bring your water to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute. If you don't have a pot, using a hot rock to heat the water can work too. There are also water purification tablets available. Or you can use a makeshift filter with layers of cloth, sand, and charcoal. Remember, hydration isn't just about quenching your thirst. It's about keeping your body functioning properly. Hydration is key to survival. In survival scenarios, your supermarket is nature. It's an abundant source of food, but only if you know where to look and what to look for. The ability to identify edible plants and insects is a vital skill for any survivalist. Let's talk plants first. Some are nutritious and life-sustaining, while others can be deadly. Dandelions, for example, are entirely edible, from flower to root. But don't mistake them for a similar-looking plant, the deadly hemlock. It's crucial to familiarize yourself with local flora and learn to recognize both safe and hazardous species. Now, onto insects. While the idea may be stomach-turning to some, insects are a rich source of protein. Grasshoppers, ants, and even certain types of beetles can be safely consumed once cooked. However, brightly colored insects are usually a warning sign, so steer clear of them. Knowledge of nature's pantry could mean the difference between life and death. So take the time to learn and turn nature into your supermarket. Know where you're going. Develop your navigation skills. A key to survival is knowing how to navigate through unfamiliar terrains. Let's start with the basics. Landmarks are your best friends. They can be anything from a particularly tall tree to a mountain range. Use them to orient yourself and keep track of your path. Next, the sun, our natural compass. Remember, it rises in the east and sets in the west. At high noon, it is due south in the northern hemisphere and due north in the southern hemisphere. Stars can be your guides in the night. The North Star Polaris is a reliable point of reference in the northern hemisphere. Look for the Big Dipper and follow the pointer stars to find Polaris. Lastly, a compass, an essential tool for any survival kit. It will always point to magnetic north, giving you a constant point of reference. Getting lost is not an option in survival situations. Shelter is a basic human need. Learn how to construct one. It's not just about having a roof over your head, but creating a space that can protect you from the harshest elements of nature and potential threats from wildlife. Different terrains demand different types of shelters. In a woodland setting, a lean-to or debris hut can be quickly constructed using fallen branches, leaves, and moss. In snowy conditions, a snow cave or a quinsy offers insulation and protection. When choosing a location for your shelter, consider factors like proximity to water sources, potential hazards like falling rocks or high tides, and exposure to the elements. The construction process involves 3 steps: laying the foundation, building the framework, and insulating the structure. Use what's available to you: branches for the frame, leaves or grass for insulation, and rocks or snow for added protection. Remember, the goal isn't to build a 5-star hotel, but a safe, insulated space where you can rest and recuperate. A good shelter can protect you from the elements and wildlife. In a modern survival scenario, knowing basic mechanics skills could be crucial. Imagine you're in the middle of nowhere and your vehicle breaks down. Panic might be your first response, but it doesn't have to be. With a grasp of basic mechanics skills, you can turn a disastrous situation into a manageable one. Knowing how to change a tire, jump-start a battery, or troubleshoot engine issues can be a lifesaver. These skills can keep you moving when you need it most. You don't have to be a master mechanic. Even understanding the basics can make a significant difference. Consider taking a basic car maintenance course, or even learning from online tutorials. You could also practice these skills in a controlled environment before you actually need them. Remember, it's better to be prepared and not need it than to need it and not be prepared. Don't let a broken down vehicle be the end of your journey. Scene script. Food is fuel. Learn how to fish and hunt. In the grand scheme of survival, securing a food source is paramount. Fishing and hunting are 2 age-old practices that can be invaluable in such situations. Let's start with fishing. You don't need a fancy rod and reel to catch fish. A simple line, hook, and bait can do wonders. You can make an improvised fishing line from a length of cordage, and hooks can be fashioned from bone, wood, or even a can tab. Now, let's talk about hunting. It's not just about stalking and killing game, it's about understanding animal behavior, tracking, and above all, patience. Improvised tools like slingshots and spears can be used for small game. Remember, survival hunting isn't about bagging the biggest trophy. It's about securing your next meal. In survival situations, you need to become your own provider. Being found is often the best way to survive. Master the art of signaling. In the vast expanse of the wilderness, being seen and heard is a game changer. Let's delve into the varied methods of signaling for help. First, mirrors. They're not just for checking your appearance. A flash from a mirror can be seen for miles and is a universal distress signal. But remember, it's all about the sun's position and the direction of your signal. Next, smoke. A well-built fire can produce smoke visible from afar. 3 of anything in a row is an internationally recognized distress signal. 3 fires, 3 gunshots, 3 whistle blasts. Lastly, creating ground symbols. Large, noticeable symbols made from rocks or logs can catch the eye of a passing aircraft. The universal sign for distress, a large X. All these methods require practice to master, but once you do, they could be the difference between being lost and being found. Signaling could bring your rescue. Survival is a test of body and mind. Stay physically and mentally fit. The rigors of a survival situation demand both physical endurance and mental resilience. Regular exercise not only strengthens your body, but it also improves your overall health, making you less susceptible to illness or injury. Physical fitness, however, is just half the battle. Surviving in adverse conditions also requires a robust mental state. Mental resilience can be cultivated through stress management techniques, meditation, or even through challenging oneself in new and unfamiliar situations. Remember, the mind is a powerful tool in overcoming adversity. It is the driving force that pushes you to keep going when your body wants to give up. It is the spark that ignites creative solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems. And it is the reservoir of courage that helps you face fear and uncertainty with a steady hand and a calm heart. Your greatest survival tool is your body and mind. And to survive in modern times, you need to be self-sufficient and resilient. We've covered 10 essential skills: mastering first aid, fire making, finding and purifying water, identifying edible plants and insects, navigation, shelter construction, basic mechanics, fishing and hunting, the art of signaling and maintaining physical and mental fitness. Each skill enhances your adaptability and self-sufficiency, making you ready for any survival situation. Remember, survival isn't about the fittest, but the most adaptable. Stay prepared, stay adaptable, stay alive.